Hello, it's Evely, and today we will talk about movements in Nobeta. So this video is part of a series of 3 video guides on Nobeta to get better at the game. So I will first start with saying that those videos are most likely dedicated to people that want to speedrun the game or do challenge runs, but even casual players will find useful tips in this video because I will always start with the most basic things, and then I will explore more advanced topics. If you want to use the same key bindings as me, I will show them now on screen rapidly. You can pause the video if you want to see them more in details. So let's go into the video now. Firstly, we're going to take a look at basic movements, and let's start with camera controls and directional movement. So in this game, you have the choice to either use a keyboard with a mouse or a controller. The advantages of using keyboard with a mouse is that you can have more precise aiming using your mouse, but it's at the cost of less precise movements. Using a controller, it may be easier to react in time, and you have way better control over your movements, but it may be at the cost of aiming if you're not used to it. So all in all, it just depends on what you prefer, and both works really well. I know runners that use controllers, and I know others that use the keyboard and the mouse, both fine. For this video, I will use a keyboard and a mouse because that's what I'm used to, but you can use either. Now on to running, which is also named dashing in this game. So first you will need to decide if you want to use toggle mode or hold mode. So you can change this in the settings, gameplay, and in dash type. In toggle mode, Nobeta will run continuously once you press the key, and you need to press the key again for her to stop running. In hold mode, you will need to keep the key pressed. If you unpress the key, she will stop running instantly. I prefer using toggle mode, but both work fine. So in this game, one thing to notice is, as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, you have the velocity graph. And when you start running, it will take a bit of time to reach the maximum velocity, and this will be really important in the later part of the video. One other thing is that when you stop running, if you stop moving too fast, Nobeta will do a little slide like this, and can be really annoying. To avoid this, you need to stop running first, like walking normally, and then you can stop moving. In this game, you can jump by pressing the jump key like this, and it also works while running. One thing you can do while in the air is move left or right to do little wiggles like this that will allow you to reposition yourself while in the air. Another thing to notice in this game is that if you try to change the direction of your jump, it won't really work and the beta will get really slow. You can see that if I jump straight forward, it doesn't happen. One way to work around this is to aim while in the air to redirect your jump. As you can see here, since I aimed, I regained my full speed. I can show it again like this, and it works. This is a really advanced technique, but can be really useful in some conditions. In addition, when reaching wind level 1, you can see that you can do another jump mid-air, meaning that you can do a double jump. So to do that, just press the jump key again while in the air. The little circle indicates the double jump. This can be really useful to jump further distances or climb higher obstacles. One other thing that allows a double jump is that it can be used as a jump redirection the same way aiming does. So as you can see, if I try to redirect my jump here, it doesn't really work well. But if I use double jump, I regain full speed. So this is another way to redirect a jump easily. The last basic movement we will see is evading. So when you press the evade key, Nobeta will do a little roll in any direction you move, and if you don't move in any direction, she will do a small jump backwards like this, which is a bit faster but travels also less distance. The evade movement is not really useful outside of combat, but we can still notice that once you reach wind level 2, you can dodge in mid-air, and it also works when doing a double jump. So it can be quite useful to travel a bit more distance while in the air. One more advanced technique we use in this game is what I call the jump extension. The goal of this technique is to travel way longer distances while still being in the air to reach points you wouldn't be normally able to reach. So to do this, you need to use melee attacks while you're still in the air, like this. As you can see, if I don't do any melee attacks, I travel a really short distance. But if I use melee attacks, I can reach way longer distances. So as you can see here, it's way better. The most important thing to notice when you're doing jump extension is how you time your melee attacks. If I wait a bit of time before using the melee attack, I can reach way longer distances. So you don't need to just spam, you really need to time it well. Once you know how to time well your melee attacks to jump extension, what you can do is use more than one double jump while in the air, which will allow us to reach some places that we can't normally. So I'm going to show an example here to illustrate it, and then I will explain it. So as you can see, if I time my melee attacks correctly, I can do one double jump, and then I can do another one here. This will allow us to reach this place that you normally can't, and allow us to do a great skip here. So to do this, you have two choices. Either you do what I call the 1-1-1-2 pattern, like this. So you do one simple attack, 1-2. You can see the 1-1-1-2 and then jump. 1-1-1-2 and then jump. So to do this, you need to wait a bit before each attack. Or another possibility is to do the 1-2-1-2 pattern. So you will do a 1-2, another 1-2, and then jump. It may be a bit harder or easier to do depending on what you prefer. I prefer doing the 1-1-1-2 pattern, but this one works well too if you're used to it. In some cases, like in Directional, I prefer using the 1-2-1-2 pattern, and in some others, like here, I prefer using the 1-1-1-2 pattern. Really depends on which one you prefer and master better. When doing jump extension, you will also need to decide how you start the jump extension. In most cases, like for this skip, you may want to just do a simple double attack and then do a jump extension. So you do a double attack, you do a double jump, and then you go into jump extension mode. So this can work well for some jumps, but for this one, for example, I prefer, instead of doing 2 melee attacks directly and then jumping, which will allows me to reach the highest distance, I prefer to do one more attack at the beginning like this. So as you can see, I did one more here. I feel like doing this in this jump can be better, but it really depends on what you prefer to do and what you're more used to. But yeah, you need to think a bit about how you start it. It can really change the distance you will travel. Don't forget that when doing jump extensions, you can still reposition yourself and redirect the jump while in the air, as explained in the previous parts. This can be really useful for tricky jumps like this one, and it will be needed if you want to master this jump and do it consistently. I want to do a little commentary on velocity in this game. Firstly, there's a few things that doesn't impact velocity. For example, trying to move forward or in two directions at the same time doesn't change anything. You will go at the same speed, so no use trying to do that. Another thing is that trying to turn while on the ground doesn't change your velocity too. So you can do that freely. It doesn't change anything if you turn the camera or move in another direction directly. It is the same result. On the contrary, trying to jump will negatively impact velocity, so as you can see when you jump, the velocity will go down at the start of the jump and at the end of the jump. So in most cases, you will want to avoid jumping if you just want to go the fastest possible. Also, doing little wiggles while in the air is even worse, and turning the camera can completely negate your velocity. So be mindful of this fact when you try to go fast from one point to another. One of the last key features about movement in this game is stamina management. There's a few actions that consume stamina, for example sprinting, evading, and jumping. They'll all use stamina. Other actions, like doing melee attacks, doesn't use stamina but temporarily disable its natural regeneration. You can use a few techniques to travel further distance with the same amount of stamina, so as you can see, if I just run like this, I will trip about this point. But if I do melee attacks while in the air, I can travel longer distances. So you will need to keep that in mind, and depending on where you want to go, You either want to go faster by not jumping, or you want to travel longer distances with the same stamina using melee attacks in the air. As for the other tricks, I can talk about cancelling fall damage. It's not really fall damage, but when you fall a big height in this game, Nobeta will do a small falling animation. To cancel this, what you can do is, for example, do a melee attack just before falling. For example, if I do a melee attack here, she won't do this animation because it resets the height to trigger it. Another thing is that when you're really low on stamina, what you can do when you're at 0 stamina or want to travel just a bit of distance, for example, trigger a cutscene, you can do one jump, toggle sprint, and then jump again. The timing is a bit difficult to get, but you're into jump, sprint, then wait, and jump. As you can see, I go way faster when I do that. It's not really easy to get the timing, but once you know it, it can be really helpful. For example, if you're 0 stamina and just before a cutscene. Another interesting thing to do is to trip just before a cutscene. I often use that in armor and with a triple cutscene at the cat. It can be useful because you don't necessarily need to save some stamina and the tripping distance is enough to just trigger the cutscene. And if you time it right for the cat cutscene, you will hear the tripping sound twice. You can also go through walls by tripping. It can be really useful to skip one of the 3 trials, and it's not that hard to do. You can also do one trick that I call the fireball lift. So it just, since you can get hit by your own magic, you can trick it. You can launch a fireball to do damage to yourself and get a bit in the air. It can be useful, for example, to trigger the at recover cutscene in the dark tunnel. It's a really fun glitch. One trick I really like to do is to open chests using aerial attacks. I often use that in the first part of the game to open the first chest and the one to get the wine too. It's a tiny bit faster than just doing a normal attack on the ground, since it cancels the melee attack animation, but can be quite hard to do at first. This is everything I wanted to talk about in this guide. There's more topics that I didn't cover, like Infinite Thunder Glitch and the flight tech, but I will talk about them in another video. For now, that's everything I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed the video, that it was useful for you, and see you next time.